That's some good stuff. Hey, Joey Starr here for Starr Quality Kitchen, doing something a little bit different this time around. Today is my birthday, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting to just kind of explore this new state that I live in by driving around collecting birthday freebies. It's something I've always wanted to try out, the birthday freebies thing, just going around doing that even before I even thought about vlogging. And now I figure, why not? I'm out there, I'm going to try to enjoy some foods and vlog about it, and let's see what happens. We're going to play this completely by ear. No script, no outline, other than I made myself a little list of places that I think I should be able to get free stuff from, and I'll tell you more about that as we go along. Yes, I put in a mobile order. Name's Joseph.
Joseph, or you can drive it.
Thank you. So the first stop on my birthday freebie tour is a little bit of a bust, because it seems Dunkin' Donuts has changed the way they do things with their rewards program. I'm at the drive-thru right now and waiting for my turn to get my coffee. I've been a Dunkin' Rewards member since, well, let's just say since they were still called Dunkin' Donuts, not shortened down to Dunkin'. I probably joined as soon as I got my first smartphone, or maybe my second smartphone, I'm not sure. Pretty much since then, or maybe a little before then, because I kind of remember carrying a card for a while, and then I moved over to the phone. Unfortunately, I was unaware until I started to review this footage that I was having intermittent audio issues. Basically, my mic started to cut in and out, so for the few of these sections, I'll be providing commentary, like some kind of director on a Blu-ray bonus feature. It used to be that members of Dunkin' Rewards would get a free medium coffee on their birthday. No purchase necessary as long as you claimed it by a certain date. I think about a week or so after your birthday. I would basically just order it on the app as I would normally do, claiming the birthday offer, and just go pick it up at the drive-thru. No questions asked, completely free. Now, instead of giving you a free coffee, they just give you triple points on your purchases for 3 days, starting the day before your birthday. What a crock of huh? And of course, those points won't just accumulate and sit in your account like they used to. They expire over time, so in order for those triple points to act as a quote-unquote birthday reward, you need to make other purchases within a certain amount of time to accumulate enough points to redeem for a free coffee or whatever you're going to use them on. So essentially, unless those were purchases you were going to make anyway within that time period, note that I haven't been stopped by Dunkin' Donuts regularly since leaving New York because it's not on my way anywhere. You would be spending extra money to quote-unquote earn that reward and thus losing money to get it. That sounds like entrapment to me. Birthday reward? Not so much. Shame on you, Dunkin'. Shame! I still stopped there, as you just saw, because I was on my way to Stamford and was craving some Java. And since Dunkin' has already started their fall flavors, I decided to grab my first pumpkin drink of the season. One of the newer flavors that they have added to their menu is the Nutty Pumpkin Coffee. So I figured I would solve my Dunkin' experience by reviewing it for this video. Too bad we can't hear it, but here's the summary of how it went. Despite having already driven over 10 miles before driving it, it was still kind of hot, which I love. The aroma was not far off from having hazelnut coffees, particularly those where the hazelnut flavor is roasted into the bean and with a hint of pumpkin when you give it a strong sniff. What I liked most about the aroma is how the scent was a bit subtle compared to other roasts that we get from Dunkin'. The Nutty Pumpkin Coffee has a smooth taste about it, making it really easy to swig down once it's cold enough to do so. The hazelnut flavor was considerably more pronounced than the pumpkin, which, by the way, don't expect any spice with your pumpkin in this case because that's not what they were going for. In a sense, it was kind of refreshing to start the fall flavor season not having spice in my pumpkin drink. I mean, I do so enjoy pumpkin spice, but there will be plenty of other opportunities to have that combination over the next few months. My nitpick for this drink is that I would have preferred a more even ratio between the nutty and the pumpkin. I'm okay with the taste being more hazelnut, but a little more pumpkin would have made this combination a great one. For Dunkin's Nutty Pumpkin Coffee, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. For Dunkin's birthday reward experience, 1 out of 5. Bring back free coffee for my birthday with no catches, and I will be back. Otherwise, I'm going to Starbucks next year. Second stop on the birthday tour is nothing Bundt Cakes, which is a chain bakery. It's in a few spots in the country. I'm not sure how far west it goes, but I know it goes at least as far south as Florida because my good friend and co-worker Caroline mentioned it to me, asked me if there was one near me, which I had no idea if there was or not, but she knew that A, they had delicious Bundt cakes, and B, that you get a free one on your birthday if you join the rewards program, which I did obviously just for today. And I gotta tell you, really nice store, pretty clean. People there were really nice. Went in, showed them my little indication on the app that I was getting a free Bundt cake. No questions asked. Boom. Which one do you want? Packaged it up, handed it right to me. I mean, it's you can't ask for better than that. I don't think I spent 3 minutes in that store in total. That was awesome. And bag looks like this. It's sealed up. So you know what? I don't want to break the seal. That's going to be a dessert for later. So I'll let you know how it tastes, how it looks, everything you'll see. We're going to go to stop number 3. It's just down the street. Here I'm standing in front of iHop to collect my free birthday short stack. I don't know if it's going to work or not because I joined the rewards program and they promised something for my birthday, but when I check in the app or sign into the website, it doesn't indicate that I'm entitled to my birthday thing. So I'm going to go ahead and just try it and see what happens. You know, maybe they'll look at my cute face and say, you know what? It's this guy's birthday. Let's just give it to him. Just came back from iHop and Backus. I spoke to the hostess who was really nice but could not help me. The way iHop Rewards works is that they drop hand coins into your account on the first day of your birthday month, enough to be able to claim your short stack of pancakes free of charge. It just so happened that I signed up for the iHop Rewards on the first of the month, and therefore the window of time to receive those pan coins had passed, even though my birthday was not until a few days later. The hostess seemed sincere in that she wanted to give me free pancakes, but even if I proved it with my ID, she would need the code that comes with those pan coins in order to comp the cost of the short stack at checkout. And despite my best smile and batting my eyelashes at her, she was not willing to buy them for me, so I was out of luck. She did bring up that they had this excellent promo going of all-you-can-eat pancakes for just a few bucks, which is a great deal, but not better than free pancakes on my birthday. That being said, I was really pleased at how nice the people at the Stamford iHop were, but I am a bit disappointed that iHop didn't have a way to give me my birthday reward, as I technically met the requirements to get it, but their delivery system of the reward failed me. So Stamford iHop service experience, 4 out of 5. iHop birthday reward experience, 1 out of 5. This stop isn't for a birthday reward, but because I was living in Stamford last year, I had stumbled upon this gem, Village Bagel. There's one here and one in Norwalk. Easily the best bagels I've had outside of New York State. And since I was very hungry, stopping here seemed like a great way to cap off my visit to Stamford. Although this is not technically a birthday reward, I did use money that was just given to me for my birthday to pay for this delicious bagel I'm about to eat. So I picked up an everything bagel, toasted with scallion cream cheese. Just that description alone is enough to make me salivate. First off, holding and unwrapping the bagel provides me with the most intense anticipation. The warmth of having it toasted was already giving me comfort, while the ever-strong aroma, both from the garlic that's on the bagel and the scallions of the cream cheese, instantly made my stomach roar like a lion. It's feeding time! Biting into the bagel produced a nice crunch that is music to my ears and gratifying to feel my teeth penetrate that crusty exterior. I am then immediately greeted by the savory elements of the herbs and onion on the outside of the bagel, along with a slight bitter contrast from the toasted garlic that's also embedded in it. And just when all of that is about to reach the threshold of intensity, it is beautifully balanced out by the creaminess of the scallion cream cheese, which has become partly liquefied from the heat of the toasted bagel. So smooth that it melts in your mouth. The right combination is sweet and savory, whose richness is perfectly balanced out by the green onion, aka scallion, which also acts to provide depth to the flavor profile. I lived in Stamford for a little bit over a year, and while I did like the area a lot, I wasn't too happy living where I was. One of the very few comforts that I had, one of the only things that made Stamford feel like home to me, was the feeling I would get when eating from Village Bagel. So damn good. And if I wasn't on my way to eat a lot more food, I would have bought 2 of these. Village Bagel, pop in and grab a quick bite experience, 5 out of 5. As I leave Stamford towards my next stop, I have to point out how much more affordable gas is here than in Danbury. Even though living in Danbury is more affordable, the gas prices in Stamford run about 20 to 30 cents cheaper per gallon. Cheaper than Westchester too. So it's a good city to top off your gas tank if you're in town. Stamford, Connecticut. Come for the bagels, stop for some gas, don't stay for the traffic. I definitely do not miss that traffic. Next, I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings for some free birthday buffalo wings. So Buffalo Wild Wings was also a bust. This was another case where I had only registered with them a few days earlier and didn't have confirmation one way or another on the app as to whether I had the birthday reward. Like with iHop, the people inside were very nice. I ended up speaking to both a hostess and a manager who was kind enough to explain that because I had only just joined and didn't yet have any activity, that the app was not able to recognize my birthday, even though I had done everything else correctly. Apparently, had I registered a couple of weeks earlier, I probably would have been able to collect 6 wings any style for free, no additional purchase necessary. Also, just like iHop, I feel that Buffalo Wild Wings should have a better delivery system for my rewards and workaround for franchisees to help in these matters. So based on that, Danbury Buffalo Wild Wings customer experience, 4 out of 5. Buffalo Wild Wings birthday rewards experience, 1 out of 5. So now I'm at the mall. Next on the list was actually Chipotle Grill. Got a pretty good feeling this one's going to work because Chipotle already sent me 2 coupons, one for joining and one for my birthday. Let me go get some free guac. The thing with joining the Chipotle reward program is that they instantly give you a free side of guac, and as a birthday reward, they give you a free side of guac. But you can only use one of those promotions per visit. And when I looked at my rewards there, the ones for my birthday actually doesn't expire until the 8th of next month, whereas the free guac for joining expires like the day after tomorrow. So here's my free side of guac. Oh, and the other stipulation is that, of course, you got to buy something, guys. Spend a minimum of $5, which is, I went ahead because I'm pretty hungry. I haven't had a real lunch yet, so I got myself one of their bagels. It's a regular bagel, monstrous. They're only the size of my head here. Nice and warm, nice soft tortilla. I'm gonna tear a little piece. See, it kind of stretches to come off because it's together, it's moist, and tasty tortilla. I mean, this is far from my first time at Chipotle, but my first time in a very long time. I think the last time I went to Chipotle was in Middletown, and it was many years ago. Yeah, it was sometime after I moved back to New York from Seattle. But anyway, let's take a bite of this bagel here. Take a bite of this burrito here. The thing about burritos at Chipotle is that if you're like me, when they go up there and ask you what you want on it, you kind of make it up on the fly based on your mood, how it looks, what kind of cravings you're having, everything smells. This is a pretty good Chipotle. Everything's, of course, fresh, which is normal for Chipotle, but the aromas in there were fantastic. Wasn't really busy because it's like 5 o'clock right now. Let's see what I got in here. First of all, I'll give you a sneak peek. And let's see. Got some brown rice, got some black beans, some pork, a little bit of fresh salsa, grilled vegetables, the onion and peppers and stuff. And what else? Anything else in here? I put something, oh yeah, a little bit of cheese. And it is delicious. Kind of falling apart in my hands. Kind of hard to hold together because, like all the Chipotles I've been to, they're very generous when they just dab the stuff on there, which is good because, I mean, something like this these days is about $10. Everything's fresh. That bite, you got some sweetness from the peppers, a little bit of tanginess from the tomato, from the salsa. Nice, savory rice and the beans complement together. I always like the way that Chipotle made their rice. They make it so it's not clumpy, kind of authentic to like a Mexican style or any kind of Hispanic style of rice. Obviously, I'm a big fan of rice and beans because of the way I grew up. And the pork, I mean, the pork is like so good. My goodness. It reminds me of the days when I was a kid going to barbecue at someone's house and they had a pig on a spit there. And just, I don't know, got nice like smoky flavor to it. The only knock on this, and this is true with every Chipotle, and I don't really blame Chipotle because basically they're a chain restaurant in the United States. Most chain restaurants in the United States, most restaurants in the United States, unless they're like an authentic, old school style family restaurant, they're really squeamish about seasoning their meats because they're afraid that no one's going to like it or whatever, or it's going to be too salty for them. And the rationale is always that you can add your own salt, but as you and I both know, because you watch this channel and because on me, that it's not the same as when you cook with it. But all that considered, this is really tasty. That is some good stuff. Once again, in my enthusiasm and hunger, I forgot to grab napkins on the way out here. It's such a beautiful day here in Danbury. I had to eat outside. It's a lot less noisy, obviously, because the place is practically empty, and a little less awkward for those involved because I'm filming outside. And this burrito, I mean, I don't even know how I'm holding it together right now. It's just coming apart. Everything's so tender. Yeah, got a little bit of heat coming from that salsa. Good. Give me the bite here. I'm gonna try out this guac. The thing is, I don't really want to spend a lot of money because they have a couple other stops to make in this food tour. But otherwise, I would have bought maybe some chips. But nice aroma, fresh. Very good avocados they use. A little close up here. Can't tell from that view, but if you look on the sides here, over here, you can see the other ingredients in the guacamole. So since I don't have the chips, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of this, I'm gonna open up this burrito, just kind of apply some guacamole to this corner. Like when the guac is fresh, and besides having the liquefied avocado that's in there, you also have little chunks of avocado in there as well. That's always a plus. The guac is very creamy. What I appreciate about fresh guacamole and the way Chipotle makes it is that they don't go crazy adding sweetness in there, and they don't go crazy like with the lime juice or anything. If they use that, it's not sour by any means. It's got a hint of sweet, a lot of savory. And when you take a bite of your burrito with the guac in there, and those flavors mesh, it's just about magical. Just about magic. My goodness. Thank goodness I have the foil from the burrito sitting down here because I'm dropping a lot of stuff. All right. It's been so long since I've eaten at Chipotle Grill, and I forgot. My old strategy used to be I would get a burrito like this, then I would get a tortilla shell, put it underneath, catch the droppings, and then it was like I had a burrito and a beautiful taco as well. Really good, really hitting the spot. We'll go ahead and be a little bold here and take this bit of burrito that's left, it's not much, dip directly in the guac. I'm sure I'm gonna leave some burrito inside the guac, but that's okay. There we go. So good I can barely stop myself from inhaling this thing, running the risk of choking, which I better not do because I'm not here by myself. From the time people walking up there see me choking and tell somebody, I'll be gone. That's the last bits of tortilla. Take that, give it another dip. Go. Granted, Chipotle Grill, not like going to an authentic Mexican grill or even someone's home, but gotta go chain commercial, not a bad way to go. And generally speaking, a heck of a lot healthier and a heck of a lot tastier than going to a fast food burger joint. Not to mention any names, but you thought of a bunch just now when I just mentioned it, didn't you? Just finished that burrito, got a little bit of burn going from that salsa. My stomach's happy right now. My mouth is happy. I'm happy, even though the freebie was the guac. It's really the burrito that made this meal. But I'm happy with the guac too. It meshed so well with the burrito. And I have leftovers that I can have at home with some chips. So Chipotle Grill, birthday reward experience, 4 out of 5. The only thing that would have made it 5 would be to get this completely free. Hey, so I stopped home for a bit to take care of the dog, and I started the long process of trying to catch up on birthday texts, Facebook posts, Facebook Messenger posts, WhatsApp, smoke signals, carrier pigeons, you name it. I'm very fortunate to have a lot of people that know me that thought of me today because they knew it was my birthday, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. So then I kind of dozed off for a bit because it's my birthday. If I want to take a nap, I'm going to take a nap, by golly. So I just got up like 20 minutes ago. I'm still a little groggy, but I'm hungry, of course. And there's a couple of stops left. My mood is not quite what it was before coming home. I'm going to kind of meet us in the middle. What I'm going to do is I have a free birthday appetizer from Texas Roadhouse. The stipulation is that you have to buy an entree, which is fine. Still a pretty good deal. It knocks like $9 off your freaking bill. So I ordered an entree to go for pickup. I'm going to go pick it up, but included in that is my birthday appetizer. Now I'll bring that home. I'll show you and let you know how that free stuff is. All right, let's do it. One really cool thing about Texas Roadhouse is that they try to pack everything they can to give you a similar experience to dining at the restaurant. For example, in addition to the entree and appetizer that was part of my order, they included a bag of their signature peanuts to coincide with the peanuts that would just be available at your table. Of course, if you decide to just toss the used shells on the floor in your home the way you would at Texas Roadhouse, no one's going to happily sweep up after you. They included a few of their fresh rolls, which is always a treat, and some of that tasty cinnamon butter to spread on them. For my free birthday appetizer, I chose the rattlesnake bites as it's something I've never tried before, and I really hadn't had anything spicy yet for my birthday. I opted for ranch dressing for dipping my sauce as I didn't really care for horseradish. And the entree I chose to trigger my birthday freebie was the country fried sirloin with a side of mashed potatoes. They provided very soft whipped butter for me to put in it, and the butter corn, which is one of my favorites. The sirloin came with a generous side of cream gravy. So let's start with the freebie itself, the rattlesnake bites. They're basically just diced jalapenos and jack cheese that is lightly breaded and fried into bite-sized poppers. Naturally, they have a partial grainy texture to them on the outside. Not a strong aroma, but you can smell the jalapeno and cheese a bit. I probably should have tried it without dipping first, but at that point, my hunger was in control of my body. When you bite into them, it's a smooth and tender insertion for your teeth. And despite the 20-minute drive home, they did manage to stay pretty warm for me, which helps, as jack cheese tends to lose a bit of its appeal when it cools and recongeals. Despite the name, the rattlesnake bites do not offer too much in the heat department. It seems like Texas Roadhouse may have been a little too reliant on you dipping into their Cajun horseradish sauce to elevate the heat accordingly. But when your taste buds prefer a creamy ranch over a bitter horseradish, you're really left with just a mild experience. As for the taste, while the jack cheese is creamy and has a decent flavor, it is a bit overpowered by both the salt and the jalapeno. I would say that these quote-unquote rattlesnake bites are more like little lizard nibbles. I am glad that I tried them, but I'm even more glad that they were free. If they are in front of me, I'd eat them again, but I would likely not order them again. In a pro move, I also tried dipping them in the cream gravy that came with my country fried sirloin, but it really did nothing to enhance the bites. In fact, that cream gravy was very salty and thus made the rattlesnake bites harder to eat. Next, I tried the country fried sirloin, which was what excited me most about my order. There is a somewhat passive aroma coming from the sirloin. The little bit that is there smells like fried chicken with a liberal amount of pepper in the breading. I really cannot smell the sirloin at this point. And when you have a cup of cream gravy open, as I do here, the aroma from that easily overpowers the aroma of the sirloin. So first I tried a nibble of the breading by itself. Nothing special there. Just what basically tastes like fried chicken breading that fell off a thigh. It is very peppery, which came as no surprise, but what did surprise me was how salty it was. What also surprised me was the lack of crunch on this breading. I wouldn't say that the coating was soggy, but it definitely was not crispy. I had to break out my own fork and knife because the flimsy utensils that they gave me just wasn't cutting it, pun intended. I honestly expected the sirloin to be more tender than it was and far less rubbery. Even with my steak knife, it was a little tough. Looking at the cross section, this is clearly well done. There was no glisten when I pressed on the meat, and tasting it revealed that it was a little bit on the dry side. While I do take into consideration that a significant amount of time had passed from when I picked up this order, I am fairly certain that a lot of the issue was how it was cooked. This is a shame because I had this years ago at Texas Roadhouse and it was much better back then. I'm not sure if it's this location or just an off night, but I did not enjoy this as much as I was expecting. The cream gravy did have a nice aroma to it. While not super strong, it was stronger than the sirloin. The pepper does jump out of you a little bit when getting a whiff, but otherwise the aroma is smooth and creamy. Now, after stirring it up well and tasting it directly, I was smacked with a lot of salt. I don't know if there was a mishap in the kitchen that night, but it seems like too much salt was the theme of this meal. And that's a shame too, because this gravy really did have a delicious
country cooking flavor to it, but the salt level was just too much to enjoy it the way it would have otherwise deserved. The thickness and consistency of the gravy was exactly what you want in a country gravy, but that damn salt just ruined it. Even dipping the sirloin into the gravy, which was the intention of this recipe, did little to nothing to salvage the flavors nor salt levels of either. The sirloin was still dry, which could have been saved by the tasty gravy if the amount of salt wasn't so intense. Really, I'm surprised at Texas Roadhouse because I used to eat there a lot back in the day, so I know that they can do better than this.
Really, the issue here is that there's a lot of salt involved in all these things. So when you put them together, you're just kind of expanding on that salt. It's kind of turning me off a little bit. Next, let's hit the sides real quick. Got the buttery corn, nice and shiny. Looks like there's a little bit of pepper in there. There usually is. You can go ahead and give myself a nice forkful. Oh yeah, just the way I remembered it. Creamy butter, really sweet corn, a hint of kick from the pepper. Very nice. Definitely one of my absolute favorite.
Next up were the mashed potatoes. This is another one of my all-time favorites from Texas Roadhouse. I can tell from stirring these up that this was made fresh using real quality potatoes. Smooth, making it easy to stir, but also chunky enough to feel pieces of potatoes in there. There is also a lovely aroma that is creamy, earthy, and buttery with a touch of pepper. First bite just melted in my mouth, provoking a flood of memories of previous meals at Roadhouse and a feeling of comfort like someone's grandma had made this. Much like the aroma had foreshadowed, these potatoes are creamy, tasty, and smooth. So good, in fact, that I completely forgot to add the whipped butter they included on the side for me. In another pro move, I dipped some of that potato into that over-savory cream gravy. This is fitting because cream gravy is an option when ordering your mashed potatoes. This turned out to be an excellent pairing as the mashed potatoes were perfectly seasoned and thus not very salty. Some would argue that it isn't salty enough, which allows it to balance out the salt in the gravy, so long as you don't drench the potatoes with the gravy. The already smooth and creamy potatoes now have a slightly elevated sense of creaminess with a soothing, albeit contrasting, extra savory element that does not feel over the top when dipping sensibly as I did here. Finally, we have the fresh bread rolls that I already applied their signature cinnamon butter to. Most people, myself included, would start with the rolls because of tradition, the fact that they come out first, and because they are so damn tasty. But as I said earlier, my hunger was running the show at this point. Tasting a dab of the butter first had brought back old feelings from enjoying these in the past. It's like reuniting with a past love that you regretted losing. Ultra soft and creamy, it starts to dissolve the second that it hits your tongue. The cinnamon provides a nice surge of earthiness and spice to open up your taste buds and allow for the slight sweetness to trigger those pleasure points. The only thing that's going to make this better is to have it on the roll. One of the amazing things about Texas Roadhouse's rolls is how they stay perpetually soft and airy. Considering the amount of time that passed between pickup and now, you swear that they must have just pulled it from the oven seconds before packing it up for me. But even if that were the case, it's still voodoo or something that they're still this tender. When you combine that tenderness, airiness, and light flavor with the triple taste sensation previously described of the cinnamon butter, you almost want to check your pulse because you suspect that you are in the heavenly afterlife. No cap, my friend. I could just eat a whole tray of these rolls with cinnamon butter slathered in them for dinner and be happier than a seagull with a french fry. So to recap my Texas Roadhouse experience, my favorite parts were the rolls and the sides. Everything else had the potential to be great, but the sirloin was overdone and dry, and the remaining foods were way oversalted. The rattlesnake bites, while not bad in flavor, seemed to be the weakest link on this chain, and I cannot imagine ever needing to order them again. Having a free appetizer with the purchase of an entree is a pretty good deal, but not the best birthday deal. My Texas Roadhouse birthday reward experience? 3 out of 5. Good morning. I was so full from eating the meal from Texas Roadhouse that there was no room for dessert. I spent the rest of my birthday evening catching up on my TV shows and chilling with my dog. But it hasn't been 24 hours yet and we still have a couple of freebies left. Being that we're still celebrating my birthday and I am an adult, technically, I'm gonna have something for breakfast that I could never have as a kid. Cake. Earlier in this video, I had stopped by Nothing Bundt Cakes to claim my completely free, no questions asked birthday Bundt cake. I saw that the pumpkin spice was available for a limited time and thought that it should be an excellent choice, having already been fueled by that nutty pumpkin coffee I was drinking on the way there. Right away from the packaging, the presentation gives you a sense of this being a higher-end chain bakery. The see-through container nicely displays what looks like a tasty morsel inside. Once you open the container, in the case of this cake at least, you get hit with a sweet and somewhat buttery aroma from the cake and the frosting. This is immediately followed by a sweet balance of the pumpkin and spice flavor. I'm not even all that hungry at this point, but started to salivate regardless. Inserting the plastic knife into the middle, I can feel how soft and moist the cake is. Keep in mind that I picked this up yesterday and that these were ready to go when I walked into the store. There's a pretty good chance that this cake was over 24 hours old old, and yet the cake is as tender as you'd expect right out of the oven. Cutting through the cake to take my first portion was barely tougher than cutting through soft butter. As I pushed through, it emitted more of that aroma that I just described. Stronger, but not at all overbearing. I was so excited I was about to try this. The cross-section revealed what I had already expected, that this cake was as moist and tender as you can get without being underbaked, and throughout the cake. But now comes the taste test. This serves as my official birthday cake for this year. How will it do? Tearing off part of the cake only, it is tender and moist, and looking closer revealed how much natural glisten there was. First bite of the cake just easily melts in my mouth. The flavor is smooth, buttery, and surprisingly not oversweet. It would be so easy and even acceptable for a cake of this type to be very decadent, but instead, it is just a reasonable amount of sweet, and even the ratio of pumpkin flavored spice was done perfectly. I don't know who wrote the recipe for this, but they did so brilliantly. Just the cake on its own was so good that I couldn't stop picking at it as I was describing the taste. Tasting the cake with part of the frosting adds an additional dimension to the flavor. For starters, this tastes like the best cheesecake flavored frosting you have ever had, and rather than slathering it all over and risking overkill, they artistically drew it over the top as you saw, which provides a nice visual aesthetic while rationing out the perfect amount of frosting that enhances the already delish of the cake without overpowering it. Again, not too sweet to push it over the top, but enough to enjoy and appreciate the complex combination of flavors in this dessert. I cannot properly put into words the feeling of satisfaction and joy that I felt eating this cake, but I will share with you that I had only intended to consume that first cut for this review, as I knew I had more sweets left on this journey, but I couldn't stop myself from having a second piece while I was still rolling. I never thought that I would say this about neither a Bundt cake nor a pumpkin spice cake, but this was actually one of the very best, if not the best, birthday cakes I have ever had. No cap. My only complaint about this cake is that I really wish it were larger. My Nothing Bundt Cake's birthday reward experience? 5 out of 5.
Had to head on over into Patterson, New York to get this, but I'm at the Baskin-Robbins / Dunkin Donuts. I'm here to redeem my free birthday scoop.
This scene only had sound for about a second and a half, which was during the pre-roll. As a member of the Baskin-Robbins reward program, I was entitled a free scoop of ice cream, completely free, no questions asked. Just show up and take it. The service experience was a little odd at first. You may not be able to tell from this angle, but the store was not very busy inside. Sure, the drive-thru was active enough, but there were more than a handful of employees visible from inside, and although I spotted a minimum of 3 that were not tied up, they basically ignored the fact that I was standing at the empty counter waiting to be helped. But then an older gentleman came from the back and helped. He was awesome. Not only was he professional and kept a smile on his face the whole time, but he even seemed excited for me that I was getting a birthday scoop. I opted for the flavor of the month, which is the Oreo monkey business. I had all this indecision on what flavor to pick when I was driving over, but the moment that I saw this as the flavor of the month, I knew that I had to try it. This is essentially a banana flavored ice cream with Oreo cookie pieces mixed in and peanut butter swirls. While explaining this on camera, the aroma from the banana in particular was cutting through with tones from the peanut butter swirls. My first tiny taste of this was purposely of the banana ice cream alone, as I was curious to how they handled it and needed to establish the base flavor. I was already pleasantly surprised by how good it was. Obviously, you're going to get that common artificial banana flavor to match this manufactured shade of yellow, but this was the best tasting fake banana I ever had. It even beat out the nano pudding peanuts that I had in my D's Nuts video, and that's really saying something. I continue to take larger portions with mixed combinations of 3 main flavors. What I liked about the texture of this ice cream is that even though it was a solid scoopable ice cream, it was notably soft without being melted. More dense than soft serve, but still less than a traditional scoop. This helped add to the experience of that smooth taste in the banana ice cream. The pieces of Oreo inside was very much like you have had in cookies and cream and other Oreo-induced ice cream flavors, but I mean that in a good way. And the peanut butter swirls were just divine, truly divine. I have had many different ice creams with peanut butter swirls that is one of my favorites, but this is easily the best swirl I've ever tried in ice cream. These flavors come together so well to form what is now in my top favorite ice cream. It's creamy, not oversweet, with a beautiful savory contrast. It has been many years since I have set foot in Baskin-Robbins, but after this experience, and knowing that there is one within a 20-minute drive from my home, you better believe that I'll be back again soon. My Baskin-Robbins birthday reward experience, 4.5 out of 5.
So that's really it for the birthday rewards tour. I've had a lot of fun just kind of running around Connecticut, exploring some new areas of Danbury and revisiting some familiar areas of Stamford. I enjoyed trying out some new stuff and revisiting some stuff I was already familiar with food-wise. And of course, bringing you along for the ride is definitely the best part of it all. I hope you enjoyed it too, at least got some amusement out of it, and maybe you even learned a thing or two. Key thing, you want to have your own birthday reward tour, definitely start signing up for reward memberships at least a month in advance. I think that's going to give you the best shot of being able to collect on all those. Unfortunately, a good number of the ones that I had signed up for, I'm not going to be able to enjoy until next year. And the other thing too, something that I observed throughout this experience this time around compared to doing it in the past
is that it is far less common to receive a birthday reward just for being born. It used to be that joining a rewards program or even just showing up and proving that it's your birthday was enough to get something. But the world is a little bit different now because the economy is so different. And the impact that the pandemic has had on the food industry especially made it so that even big corporations had to rethink how they do business. So even what was once a negligible cost to appease customers and promote good relations like freebies without a purchase has become a financial liability that many of them can no longer entertain. So my worst experience on this tour was Dunkin, mainly because what used to be a great freebie up until recently is now just an opportunity for them to push me into more sales in order to quote-unquote collect a reward. My best experience was with Nothing Bundt Cakes, who made it easy and as free as possible to enjoy their product. Shout out to Caroline for letting me know that they even existed. Now I have a new favorite. How about you? What are your favorite birthday freebies? What was a freebie you used to get that went the way of Dunkin? What birthday freebies do you think I should look into for next year? Leave it in the comments. As always, the information for everything and everywhere I went to is in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching this special episode of Star Quality Kitchen. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and stalk. Laters!